All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another one. Brand new week, brand new TD Markets trading room. Good afternoon and welcome back to the live session every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. All right. Before we get started, remember whatever is discussed in this video is for purely educational purposes, right? Please do not take whatever we say as advice. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, yes, we are back. There we go. There we go. Hope everyone is doing well this Tuesday afternoon. The time now is 2 minutes, or rather 7 minutes after 2. The live trading room, TD Markets and TD Markets Academy. I go by the name of Tsepo. And yeah, we are back with another one. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope you guys are having a good week. We're going to have a look at the charts and see what trading opportunities we have for this week. All right. Everything is prepared. Everything is prepared. We are about to jump in. All right. I can see Jules, Chuku, Zama, Peter on the chat. Definitely. The usual suspects are back. All right. Excited to be back once again. All right. So we're going to jump straight in it, guys. Remember, if you guys want to open an account with us, our website is tdmarkets.com. Just have a look at the accounts we have at tdmarkets.com. We've got different account types for you, right, to cater your trading, to suit your trading style. All right, so just under account types, just have a look at the different accounts we have: the TDM Boost, the TDM Send, the TDM Max, all the way to the TDM Pro, right? Obviously, if you guys want more information, the email is care@tdmarkets.com. All right, we also provide education. If you guys wanna be a part of our education sessions, all you need is an account. And then you can just head over to our website, which is tdmarketsacademy.com, all right? Or you can simply contact your account manager or send an email to care@tdmarkets.com. We do have some education classes. All that's required is for you to have an account, all right? We've got sessions from the morning all the way till the evening, right? Obviously, different levels. The beginner and the advanced and intermediary sessions combined in one, right? The beginner classes are in the morning. The intermediary advanced combined in the same session is in the afternoon as well as the evening. All right. So more information you guys will get. All right. So that is the TD Markets Academy. Our website there is tdmarkets.com if you guys want to open an account. All right. So let's get it started, guys. Let's go through the charts. Last week, it was an interesting week. Last week, what has happened since is very interesting, right? I'm sure you guys have seen that things were not or have not been making sense, all right? At the back of the interest rates announcement, things have not been making sense. So let's try and make sense of what might happen during this week, all right? I'm talking about the US Fed rate, which went lower, or there was a Fed cut of 25 basis points. So from 4.5% to 4.25%. That's where interest rates is in the US. Now, by book, we should be getting a stronger dollar by book, So that's why we saw all your major pairs taking a knock against the dollar. However, the commodities remained the same. So usually if the dollar is strengthening, then we're expecting gold to push down. We're expecting silver to push down, all right? But that has not been the case. Gold has been pushing up despite the dollar weakness. The same as silver. They've been pushing up despite the dollar, or rather the dollar strength. Despite the dollar strength, your commodities have been bullish, all right? So what could be the reason? That is the question. Why is gold still pushing up even if the dollar is strengthening? So hence I said things have not been making sense. So we are going to be talking about that, looking or seeing where trading opportunities are and what we can prepare for the week. It's only Tuesday. We can get some nice movements for the week. All right. So let's dive straight in it, guys. I know you guys have some charts that you want us to talk about. So maybe in the meantime, just drop it on the chat. If there's anything that you guys want us to have a look at, maybe drop it on the chat. All right, we'll have a look at it. But I want us to start with what happened. Look at gold, look at the dollar, and look at the cryptos as well. Very interesting thing. I spoke about it in today's opening bell. All right, opening bell, talking about the cryptos, why we've seen a sharp decline since yesterday. So we're going to talk about it. However, what we spoke about what we spoke about last week, a week before that, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, the direction has not changed. The direction remains the same. What we're seeing right now, it's just movements that are creating structure. That is what we're seeing right now, all right? But the direction that we spoke about a month, 2 months, 3 months ago, or 3 months back is still intact, all right? So maybe on the chat, you guys will let me know what you want us to talk about, but you're going to start with gold, all right? We're going to start with gold, have a look at the dollar, have a look at the cryptos, and then we'll round it off and end it with our minor pairs, all right? So let's see what happened. Let's see what happened. Let's see what happened. Let's see what happened, right? Let's see what happened. Definitely, we are back and better than ever. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My brother Ash is on the chat right now. Maybe put a W for Ash. A W on the chat for Ash. I don't know why people say that. You know, W on the chat. Yo, W on the chat. W on the chat. I wonder what that means. So if you guys, let's maybe speak a little bit about it. What does W on the chat mean? Like I'm dying to know. I'm dying to know when these streamers say W on the chat. What does it mean? I think it means win. Oh, really? Peter, does it mean win? Yeah, what do you guys say? W on the chat, what does it mean? I don't know. I don't know what it means. Honestly, I'm dying to know what it means. W is for winning. Aha, there we go. L is for losing. I don't know. Put W on the chat for Ash. Put W on the chat for TD Markets. Done. It's not even up for debate. W on the chat for Ash. W on the chat for TD Markets. W on the chat for standing by Pezulu. You know how we do it. You know how we do it. You know how we do it. There we go. Aha. Aha. There we go. There we go. Yeah, no, this is fun. Ash, we're going to start doing this. The next NFP, we want all those W's there. All right. Definitely. Definitely. Aha. Definitely. All right. So let's talk a little bit about what happened, guys. So as I was saying, interest rates cut. We saw gold pushing up, but the dollar was strong, right? Let's make sense of what's happening. Now, you need to understand that gold is a commodity, right? And it's a safe haven, right? Let's start there. Gold is a safe haven. W's Baba had 100%. So gold is a safe haven. Now, what has happened and why we're seeing a sharp decline in the crypto is because, number one, the cryptos failed to spark a rally towards the upside, all right? We were anticipating that, all right, we're gonna be pushing up and so forth and so on, but now we got a drop. Now, what happened since maybe last week Friday and this Monday is that there's been a lot of profit taking on the crypto, all right? And also there's been some ETFs outflows. You guys remember I mentioned ETF inflows maybe a couple of sessions ago, but now we've got BTC outflows and BTC ETF outflows and ETH ETF outflows, right? So that means there's been money rotating, money moving from one place to the next place. So there's money rotating at the moment. Hence, we are seeing the market cap in the crypto went down to almost 1%, right? But, excuse me, but institutional interest, corporate interest is still there, right? So your big corporations, your strategies, your Meta, your bullish are still acquiring Bitcoin and expanding their Bitcoin holding. You've got your ETH treasury. They're still expanding that. So just to make things very simple, right? Even though we're seeing a slight decline on the crypto, even though we're seeing the market cap going down, because that's a very important thing, market cap. Market cap simply means the value of the cryptos that we have right now, all right? So market cap has declined over 1%. Despite all of that, your big institutions continue to buy Bitcoin. I mean, the latest update on that is that Strategy has bought another 150 Bitcoin, right? 150 Bitcoin. They are adding to their reserve. So they remain the number one Bitcoin holders in the world, all right? Maybe not in the world, but in the top 100 BTC treasuries, they are number one on the list, all right? So that's what's happening with the crypto right now. There's profit taking place, all right? The market cap slightly went down, money is moving, But if you look at the structure, the overall structure we're seeing right now, it remains bullish. So maybe we'll go through some other coins for you guys, but let me start with BTC. So BTC, this is what I'm talking about. This is the move that started last week, Friday, or the previous week, all right? Now, this is as a result of the profit taking. However, the bigger structure is still intact. It remains the same, all right? So if you guys were wondering what's happening with Bitcoin, what's happening with Cardano, Solana, it's just profit taking that's happening there. So if you guys want a proper analysis on that, you guys will let me know, all right? On the chat, you guys will let me know. So let me see, let me just go up the list quickly. We've got NASDAQ, which is very bullish. Euro AUD, I'm looking for a short. USD Swiss, there's nothing, all right? So let's go NASDAQ. All right, so NASDAQ remains bullish. This thing is extremely bullish, all right? It's extremely bullish. We don't have any structure to work off of, all right? It's extremely bullish. We might get a slide. So look at what's been happening. Here, look at what's been happening. So it's extremely bullish, all right? Now, obviously, it's been creating these higher highs, cycle going back, another one. So we don't have a cycle as yet, but it is still bullish. So all we're waiting for now is for a higher high to form, let price correct a little bit, and then let it go up again. That's it. All right, that's it. So from like your daily, there's nothing we can do there. We can only look at this on the lower time frames, like your 1 hour and, all the way lower. So what's happening right now is there could be a correction that's forming there, right? So if this forms a higher high, I'm on the 1 hour time frame right now. If this forms a higher high, we could see a slight push towards the downside, which might offer some intraday movements, right? So, I'm going to go through a few possibilities. So we could see price doing this, going down one more time before it does this. So this move towards the downside, it is going to be a short-term trading opportunity to the downside. But remember that everything is still bullish, right? So even if it might look like we are ranging, any break towards the downside, it's just there to give us a higher low, right? To give us a higher low before price resumes there. But as it is right now, there's really nothing much. At the same time, this might break towards the upside and resume the trend. All right. So I will be interested in looking for should this go down first, right? I'll be interested in looking for a continuation towards the upside. So maybe it can come and tap this area one more time, right? Maybe it can come and tap this zone one more time. Now that is what I will be very interested in, right? Then I know anywhere from here, it's something like this. It's something like this where price gave us a higher high, corrected, tapped this low one more time, and then aggressively pushed up. So if we get something like that, then definitely that's going to spark my interest. All right. At the moment, it is just consolidating, right? It could just break up from there and continue the move towards the upside. You see how it is. But like I said, I'll be very interested if this comes back down to this low again. So that is how it's looking, right? That is how it's looking. That's how NAS 100 is. It's extremely bullish, extremely bullish. All right. And then we've got Euro Odd, which I'm looking for a short on Euro Odd. Excuse me. I'm looking for a short on Euro Odd. Let's see what it's doing. Aha, there we go. So we spoke about Euro Odd I think the previous week. We spoke about Euro Odd saying that we are going to get a correction before we continue pushing towards the downside, right? And if you take a look at where this correction is, where this rejection is taking place, let me show you where it's taking place, right? We actually have the Fibonacci there, the 50 Fibonacci there. So we have tapped this high one more time there, right? So we're seeing kind of like a double top, and you will notice that it is in line with, I think it's the 5th or the 61.8. Yeah, it's on the 61.8. Let me just put it there quickly, 0.618, 61.8. There we go. Aha. So we are trading, or we are rejecting the area between the 50 and 61.8. All right. So a couple of possibilities that we have here. a couple of possibilities we have here. We have this structure that is created, the structure that is created there, right? As well as this structure that is created there. So you see how price broke above these structures, right? There's a possibility that price is going to come back to one of these structures here. So let me go to the daily. There we go. Maybe let me put a like a zone there, something like this. There we go, something like this, right? So price broke above this structure. Now any move towards the downside, it's giving us the possibility of price coming back to the structure. It's giving us the possibility of price coming back to the structure. So we want to see if this double top is going to hold, right? If this double top is going to hold, should it hold, then we will then see price pushing towards the downside. Look at how aggressive it is at the moment, right? It's aggressively pushing down. So it's just a matter of time, right? I'm really looking for this move. We spoke about it the previous week. We don't have a break as yet on this one. Look at that, right? So we've got this ascending channel. Should we get a break and maybe a retest of this structure, a retest of maybe this structure here, right? Or even this one, even this one. So you see where price is right now. I wouldn't do anything, but should it break, we might get a retest, but there's this nice 100 pip move that we could get from this setup. So Euro odd, this is how it's looking. I've been talking about a push towards the downside. We are holding that price there. The daily time frame is looking good. The 8-hour time frame is looking good. Look at that engulfing candle, right? That engulfing candle. So there's a lot of momentum towards the downside at the moment. A break, we'll be looking for price to come back down to the structure, right? It's a simple one. Yeah, it's a simple one. All right, so that's how Euro odd is looking. Great setup. So maybe let's wait for that break and then we'll just monitor how price will react there. And then you've got, let me see, Euro odd and USD Swiss. USD Swiss don't have anything really concrete on that one. All right, USD Swiss don't have anything concrete on that one. The cycle is done, right? So this cycle we had a lower high and then price went all the way down to complete the cycle, right? So this move is done. Where it is right now, there's a possibility it might break towards the upside or it might resume to the downside, right? As long as this cycle is done towards the downside, then these are the two possibilities. So now with this price action here, then we want to see price breaking above structure, like where it is right now. Let me go to the 4-hour. Where it is right now, I don't really have a setup where it is, right? Unless price breaks above this structure. So I wouldn't do anything on this one unless we break out of that structure, because we also have this as well, right? We also have this as well. So as it is right now, it can continue pushing down. Any movements to the downside for me, I would want price to break this to the downside, right? Any movements towards the downside, I would want price to break this flag towards the downside, right? That is when I'm gonna maybe look for a short, right? Look for a short, maybe a 40 pips should it break below, right? But other than that, inside this area, I don't think there's gonna be a setup that I might find, right? So if this breaks up, then definitely there's gonna be trades worth looking at above there. And then a break towards the downside, I know we're still coming back down. So in between, yeah, I'm just gonna wait and see what price is trying to do in between. All right, so that is USD Swiss. The cycle is done. This cycle is done. So from here, either we can push up or push down, right? These are the two possibilities we see. All right, so that is NASDAQ, that is Euro odd as well as USD Swiss, right? Euro odd as well as USD Swiss. Let me just see here. Just 1 second here, guys. All right, great stuff. So let's go. Let me. I'm looking at the chat right now. Okay, yeah, we spoke about Nasdaq looking really proper. XAG USD, it's like gold, right? It's extremely bullish. If you take a look at silver is extremely bullish. At the moment, there's nothing to do on gold at the moment. I mean, sorry, silver. There's nothing else to do on silver at the moment. Look at how aggressive it is towards the upside. So what we are looking for here is a continuation of this trend. So we've got this bullish trend. Right? Keeps breaking structure. So as it is right now, there's nothing we can do because we don't have a higher high, right? So if we can get a push towards the downside, then we will have a higher high. We will get a higher high. So which means we are working in between this higher low and that higher high. So anything there, we are looking for a continuation towards the upside. So what I'm talking about is what happened previously when price formed this higher high here. When price formed this higher high, right? Because the trend was still bullish, the probabilities were high for price to continue pushing up. So all we were waiting for was for price to retrace, correct, and then push back up. So at the moment, there's nothing to do. There's nothing else to do at the moment except we get another higher high so that we can look for a correction and then a continuation up. Also, if you take a look at like the lower time frames, like your 1 hour, there's nothing to do. The previous trading opportunity that formed was here. Let me show you. There we go. It was right here. So price formed a higher high here, right? We had a higher high on the M15. And with this higher high, all you needed to do was to check if it's going to change the current structure. If not, you're looking for a trade towards the upside, all right? Looking for a trade towards the upside. So the market came back and tapped this low, this area, right? It might have been slightly a deeper one. It tapped this, but went back up. You see that? This would have been a setup. So what is happening right now seems like market is trying to create a higher high, all right? So we'll be keeping an eye on the previous higher low to see if it's going to change structure. If it doesn't change structure, then probabilities are high for this to continue pushing towards the upside. So I'm just going to mark my chart like this for now, right? Like this for now. This is the previous higher low we are keeping an eye on, right? Should price break below this, then we are going to get a change of this bigger structure, all right? So as it is right now, looking at what price did here and what price did there, if we extend the line I drew on the higher high like this, right? Then following the current behavior, then any move coming back to tap this low here, we're going to start to look for a continuation up. It just needs to tap this area again. Then from there, looking for a push towards the upside. So at the moment, this is what's happening with silver. On like your M15 time frame or M5 time frame, there's a correction that's forming, all right, which could take us back down there. Any breaks of this here, right, it could lead us back down to maybe that structure, right? And then from there, looking for a continuation up. You see how it is? So on the bigger time frames, nothing much to do on silver, but maybe on like your minute time frames, then you can find something, right? In terms of the structure, we've got a bullish structure. At the moment, price is correcting. So this correction can easily take us back down here before the higher low forms. All right. So that is how silver is looking at the moment. Maybe worth keeping an eye on. Let me see. Where am I? Where can I get such information? which information? I'm not sure which information is it. Maybe let me on the chat. Let me know on the chat which information. Euro USD. Let's see. All right. This is how Euro USD is looking. So Euro USD, we are trading within this structure. All right, within this structure here. So what do we see? We can see we have a higher low that formed, and then we've got a higher high. So at the moment, we have not broken below that previous higher low. You see that? So as it is right now, the structure is still bullish. Until we break below that higher low, the structure remains bullish. So which means we would look for another higher low and a continuation towards the upside, like this. And a continuation towards the upside. All right, maybe let me make this a little bit. There we go. So this is how it's moving right now. We've got a higher low, looking for a higher low. So if you take a look at this area, this resistance, you see how price broke above the resistance. But look at the break. Look at this engulfing candle. Look at this engulfing candle there, right? This is a bullish engulfing candle on the daily. So the daily, there was a lot of momentum which took yesterday's high out. So a rejection here on this zone, a rejection on this zone is going to see Euro USD continue pushing towards the upside there, right? We are forming a higher low with an engulfing candle. The previous example of the engulfing candle is this one. This was the previous example of the engulfing candle. You see this big green candle. It's engulfing the previous one. And then from there, what happened? Price went up. So we're seeing a similar thing here, right? All we need now is for today's candle to reject this zone. And once that happens, then we are likely going to see price pushing towards the upside. Towards the upside. So there's a correction forming here. There's a correction forming here. You see how it is? So a breakout is going to see, or we're going to likely get this push towards the upside. So we just need price not to break this area. So Euro USD remains bullish. It remains bullish, right? We're trading within this structure. We've got a higher high. This was the previous higher low. Uptrend. Seems like we are forming another higher low. Structurally, we're supposed to be going up once that higher low is being confirmed and once price does not break below that. You see how it is? So Euro USD remains bullish, all right? At the moment, remains bullish. The only way this is going to change direction is if the structure breaks, right? But because of the current structure, we remain bullish. If the structure breaks and then turns, we turn with the market. We turn with the market. So we follow the market, all right? Whatever the market does, we follow. So that's how Euro USD is looking. AUD, which AUD? So there is Zama. Which AUD are you looking at? Are you talking about? Right? In terms of the DXY, this is what the DXY or how the DXY is looking, right? I'm on the daily time frame right now. Now the DXY has come back down to this low. It has come back down to this low there, right? Maybe let me do this. It has come back down to this low. We are seeing rejection from this low, right? In line with the rejection, the market is still trading within this descending structure. You see how it is? So now, at the moment, even if it's bouncing from this low, right, it has not changed the structure. The structure is still bearish. So now, for us to say we are going up with Euro USD, it needs to break, DXY, it needs to break out of this structure for us to say we're going up. So maybe if it does this, if it goes up and break out of this, then that's when we can say now the trend is changing, the structure is changing, then we should, we're probably gonna get this, right? But if it doesn't do that, probabilities are that this is gonna push towards the downside, even if it's rejecting. You see that, even if it's rejecting. So the DXY is still trading within this descending structure, right? We have completed the cycle. So this cycle here, we have completed the cycle, all right? That's why on the previous sessions, we've been looking at the DXY going down, right? In the previous sessions, because it needed to complete the structure. So it came back to this low again. So from here, it can either continue pushing down or break out of this and push up again. So we're just waiting to see what's going to happen. You see, right? We're just waiting to see what's going to happen. So that is the DXY, all right? That is the DXY. If you look at AUD USD, this is how it's looking. There we go. So AUD USD is trading within this structure. You see how it broke the previous high. There, this was the previous higher high. So now we've got a new higher high, right? We have this impulse wave, new higher high. So what we need is a higher low to continue this cycle. This is what we need. We need a higher low to continue this cycle. All right. So if you look at the lower time frames, there's a possibility. There's a possibility that because of this correction here, there's a possibility that price might go down one more time because of this. All right. There's a possibility price could take us down one more time before any changes there. Right. So what I would say is short term, we've got this continuation pattern towards the downside. Let me do this. This continuation pattern towards the downside, right? And this pattern coming back down to this low, taking us back down to this low again. Let me put here, right? So the bigger structure is bullish, right? The bigger structure is bullish. Now, while price is still correcting this, you see this correction can take us back down here one more time. So if I was looking at this, my TP would be here if I was looking at this, all right? So one more time, and then we'll come back and see what's going to happen. Right? So this is how AUD USD is looking at the moment, right? We get a higher low, we're going to continue pushing up. There. The only way, because we're looking at this structure, this particular one here. Let me do this. We're looking at this structure, right? That's moving like this. I mean, you're going to find other structures on the lower time frame, but if you're looking at this structure where your higher lows are forming here, higher low, higher low, higher low, you see that? So things have not changed, but intraday, you've got that push towards the downside. So another higher low is we're anticipating price to give us a push towards the upside. So in terms of this particular structure, AUD USD is in a correction of that impulse. So this is the impulse, AUD USD is in the correction. So you will then decide whether you want to trade within the correction, right? Meaning trade this correction, or you want to wait for the structure to resume trading higher. Right? That is a question that you need to ask yourself. But in terms of the structure, this is how it's looking. All right. So that is AUD USD. Proper chart for BTC. Yeah, no, BTC hasn't changed, right? You see what's happening with Bitcoin. It is now tapping this area one more time, right? It initially broke towards the downside. You see what's happening here. Initially, it broke towards the downside, and then now it broke back above. So look what's happening now. This is your traditional break and retest of structure, right? So from here on, price respects this. Then we are looking at Bitcoin continue the push towards the upside. We're looking at Bitcoin continue this move towards the upside. So this is on the weekly time frame. All right, the daily time frame, the same thing. So it's just a matter of time before we get that move towards the upside. In terms of the Fibonacci, we've retraced to the Fibonacci, the 50, the 61.8, and then we've got this structure. So there's confluence on BTC on the daily time frame, confluence. A higher low here is going to take us back to that high, either this high, right, this high, or that peak all the way up there, all right? So this is the situation we're seeing here, a continuation up. Yeah, so BTC hasn't changed, guys, right? It has not changed. The news you've been sharing on the crypto and the dollar, it's all about research. Yeah, it's all about research. So you can go to sites like Yahoo Finance, investing.com. It's all about being aware of what's happening around you and trying to make sense. You know, we spoke about interest rates last week, and then we saw how the market reacted. And then from there, you can just look at sites like your investing.com, because they share live feeds and, you know, latest news. You've got Yahoo Finance. Then you're going to get these news, right? You're not going to get everything from one website. It's like doing research. You know, you look at multiple sources, try and make sense of what's going on. All right. So yeah, so you can start there. Also, you can watch like Bloomberg on YouTube, right? But yeah, so it's a combination of multiple sources there. Combination of multiple sources. All right. Good afternoon. Did you talk about USD JPY? On that one, let me go back. All right. So USD JPY, this is how it's looking. You see on the daily time frame, it is still ranging. On the daily time frame, it's still ranging. All right. So we're going to use the lower time frames. On the lower time frames, we've got this structure here. We've got this structure. All right. Where price is respecting this structure. So we've got a resistance there. Now with this resistance, we're anticipating price intraday to push a little bit lower. Right, to push a little bit lower. So we've got this resistance. Look at how sharply price has been rejecting this. So now we've got this low. So we're anticipating USD JPY to come back to this low. All right, because of that resistance, provided that it doesn't break above that resistance, we're looking for it to come back to this low. This is on like your 1 hour M15 time frame. All right, but on the daily time frame, it's just ranging, nothing much to do. But your 1 hour, we've got that resistance, price pushed down. So we're anticipating one more push towards the downside, back to that low there, back to that low. So this is how we're looking at USD JPY. All right, great stuff. And then we've gone through silver, AUD USD. We've gone through AUD USD, I think. Yeah, we've gone through AUD USD. We've got NZD USD. So NZD USD. So NZD USD did not commit towards the upside last week. All right. So remember, we spoke about the market pushing up. It did go up. However, it never broke this high there. Right. So the move we spoke about did go up, but it never broke this high. And then from this high, the market aggressively went down. So now this structure, this is the possibility now we have now, right? The possibility we have, looking at how we have the two highs there. And then we are looking for the second low. So this move towards the downside, according to this, because this is a formation. This is a formation, right? We're anticipating NZD USD to complete this move and come back down to this low, just to complete this move. You see there, this is the formation we are trading in. So one more push towards the downside here. All right, we're looking for one more push towards the downside, come back to this area, and then the formation will be done. Formation will be done. From there, we can either get a support and price goes up, or break the support and price goes down. But at the moment, one way. Right? At the moment, one way. Right? So this is going to be a nice setup, similar with AUD USD. So if you go to AUD USD, there's potential for one more push down here. There's potential for one more push down. All right? This one here. For one more push down because of this. So if I do this, if maybe I do this, right? So the market has gone back to the top. You see that? So any rejection from there, we can get a push towards the downside. NZD USD, looking at this formation, one more push to the downside is expected. It's expected here. All right. So that's NZD USD, right? So this one did not break and push up. So let's see what's going to happen once price reaches this area. Once price reaches this area, let's see what's going to happen there. Euro USD, I think we went over Euro USD. Yeah, we went over Euro USD, right? It is still trading within this bullish structure. That bullish structure, right? So the trend has not changed. So we're still anticipating price to continue pushing up here, right? If it changes the trend, then it needs to break out of this for the trend to change. You see that? But as it is right now, we're anticipating a continuation to the upside. That is Euro USD. Euro USD. Let me see what else do we have. So USD JPY, we went over that one, and then we've got GBP NZD, right? So GBP NZD, it's moving in line with the analysis, right? The last time we spoke about this, we said we are anticipating price to go up, to break out of this and push towards the upside. All right. So this one is in line with the analysis. So this move that we see, it's not done. Right. This current bullish wave, it's not done. So there is potential for some upside on this one. Right. Potential for one more move back to this high. Right. The potential is there for one more move back to that high. Should it break that high, then we are headed back to this high. We are headed back to that high. We are headed back to this high. All right. So a couple of targets we are seeing on GBP NZD, right? It is bullish at the moment. This move from all the way down here is not done, right? So it can take us all the way there, or a break can take us all the way there. All the way there, right? So just an update on that one. And then you've got GBP AUD that is trading at the bottom. So if you take a look at this GBP AUD, you see what happened when price broke the previous low. It broke the previous low. What happened? It shot towards the upside. So look what's happening now. It broke the previous low. Look at where it is. So what we're looking for is a push back towards the upside, according to this formation here. According to this formation. So anywhere, just like when price broke the previous one and then price went inside this area, what did we get? We got that aggressive move towards the upside. So price is trying to do the same thing. It's trying to do the same thing. We are likely going to get this push to the upside. Right? It's trying to do the same thing. So even if it might give us one more push down, but look at where it is. It's inside this zone. All right. So with Euro AUD, I'm watching out for some longs on this one. I'm watching out for some longs. I just need price to break past this. Right, so we've got this structure. Right, let me put it like this. So you see now we get a higher low here. We get a higher low there. Then we are likely going to see a break to the upside. So we get a higher low there. We're likely going to see a break towards the upside on this one. All right, so we spoke about this the last time. And the market was just here, right? And then we said the market is going to push towards the upside. So an update on that one, we've got this resistance that is holding price. A break out of that, then we are looking for that push towards the upside, right? So that's going to be a nice one. That is going to be a nice one, right? It's something similar to this. You see when price gave us a higher low here, what happened? The market broke out of this, right? And then we shot all the way back to that high. So we're looking at similar setup there. We break out of that, we're likely going to shoot back to that high, right? So at the moment, this is how it's looking. Maybe the 4-hour time frame, maybe that the 1 hour. This is how it's looking, right? Nothing much to do unless we get a breakout, right? So maybe let's talk about this one on Thursday. Let's see this coming Thursday how it's going to look. So the pairs we spoke about, we're going to come back again Thursday and see how they've moved, all right? But overall, what we've been talking about for the past 2 months, 3 months, looking at like the direction according to the structure on the daily, weekly, the market has moved in line with the structure, right? We haven't had any major changes out of the structure. What we've had is just short-term movements that are creating structure. Because when price moves, right, you don't expect price to move in a straight line, right? So whenever we have a bullish move and a bearish move, you wouldn't expect price to move in a straight line, right? You would expect price to move in a proper structure and trend like this, because that's how we then gonna look for our trading opportunities. So now on the daily time frame, right, the movements we spoke about, like your gold and all of that, they've been going up. So what I'm saying when I say what we're updating now is the short-term price movement, we are referring to the corrections, right? So obviously, if the market corrects, this is a short-term price movement, a temporary pause in the opposite direction of the trend, right? It's a correction, it's setting up for a continuation, all right? So now we would then come and say, okay, the direction is still the same, everything's still the same. At the moment, we've got this. A good example is on silver. We spoke about silver, we spoke about NASDAQ, right? Those things are bullish. Let me look at US30. Those things are bullish. Just that those short-term intraday movements that are creating corrections, or what we can say short-term trends on the lower time frames, right? But ultimately, direction still the same. Let me see. We've got the USD, the dollar index. Yeah, no, dollar index, this is how it's looking, right? It has completed this move. So we had a lower high. And the last time we spoke about this, or whenever we spoke about DXY, we've been very bearish on that, right? So this has been the direction, guys. You see now in between, you wouldn't expect price to move in a straight line, right? You would expect price to move, creating lower lows and lower highs. So these movements here in the opposite direction, right? Those were just continuation movements. So even though our direction has been bearish, this is what we've been updating, all right? So now look at where it is right now. It has completed the cycle. So we had your lower high coming back to this low, right? So this move is done. So what could happen from there? Well, there are two possibilities here, right? There's a possibility that this is going to give us a double bottom. There's a possibility that this is going to give us a double bottom. And if this gives us a double bottom, then we're going to get this push towards the upside. That double bottom is a possibility, right? There's a possibility that it might not give us this, and then it continues towards the downside, right? A good example of that is here. A good example of that. So if you take a look at this low, whoa, not that one. Well, that low, if you take a look at this low here, I'm going to draw a line, right? You see what the market did? The market went back to that low, right? It went back to that low, boom. When price was here, there were two possibilities. Either this is going to be a double bottom and price goes up, or it's going to break. So you see how we never got a double bottom there, right? We just had a rejection, but not really a double bottom. So we could get the same thing here, all right? So let me do this. So now I've got these structures here. I've got this zone here, right, which was a previous support. Should price break below this zone, should price break below this zone, then we could see DXY continue pushing lower. You see what's happening now. Should price break below this zone, then we are likely going to see DXY pushing towards the downside. Then we'll see what's going to happen once it gets down to these lows, right? So there's a small correction. That means there's a continuation happening. All right. The only way this is going to change is if it breaks out of this structure. If it breaks out of the structure, like maybe it rejects, it goes up, it completely destroys this structure, then this is the possibility we're going to look out for. So the DXY is still bearish. On the weekly, we've got that pin bar that formed on the weekly, right? On the lower time frames, the market has not changed the structure. So those are the two possibilities we see now. Those two possibilities. All right. And then we've got USD CAD. I think, yeah. So USD CAD, let me show you what's going on. You see now, right now, it does not make sense. Structurally, it doesn't make sense for USD CAD to do this. Structurally, it really doesn't make sense for USD CAD to do that. Why do I say that? Because from this high and this high, right? In fact, yeah, from this high, I'm not going to get too deep with this, but from this high, the market went down, but this whole move is not done. Why do I say this move is not done? Because this low, it has not tapped and reached this low one more time. You see that low there? The market has not tapped this low one more time or again. So if price went down to tap this low, then this move would have been complete. So hence I'm saying structurally it doesn't make sense for price to do it. But it can do that, but in terms of the current structure, it doesn't make sense for price to do this. So what does it mean? It means according to structure, there's a possibility here we're going to get a lower high. There's a possibility we're going to get a lower high, and then we're going to see this whole move complete by price coming back down here. This whole move complete. There, right? Because already we from these highs, this high, that high, and this high, right? We are from these highs. So from there, in terms of the structure, the market needed to break this low. So that hasn't happened. So there's a short-term move towards the upside. Another lower high here. Let me see. Another lower high there. We are likely going to see this break towards the downside, or let me do this, or a break of this channel. A break of this channel. You see how it is? There we go. I'm on the 1 hour time frame right now. So we create a lower high here, and then price breaks the channel. Then we're likely going to see this coming back to this low one more time, right? So some of you guys might call it liquidity sweeps, liquidity grabs. You know, this funny English that we hear now, it's just structure, right? Those concepts you guys know about, it's purely structure, right? There might be new terms that traders use, but it's purely structure. So I'm watching out for that move down, right? To come back and complete this move here. And complete this move. And then boom. We'll then discuss this once price has gone down, all right? And then the last one is, okay, so you've got GBP USD, GBP JPY. So GBP JPY, it's still stuck in the same area. Still stuck in the same area, right? This is the area I'm talking about. Still stuck in the same area, right? There's a possibility that this is going to go all the way to this top, right? We are trading within this big structure, right? The current price action we see here, let me just expand this. The current price action we're seeing here, right? So now we are trading within this bullish structure. We need price to continue breaking above structure. Like for instance, this here, right? We need price to break above the structure so we can get this possibility, right? I think that would be a setup for me should this happen, right? Because there's a possibility that we could come back down here again one more time before we do this. You see these two possibilities, and this is because of what's happening here, guys. Let me show you. When price was going up here, right, it quickly came back down to create this low, and then it went up, right? But the way it's going up with a lot of retracements, with a lot of pullbacks. Hence, we've got a channel. So it went up, retracement, up, retracement. So you see this price action, right? So then we're likely going to see price breaking, coming back down here again before this happens, right? But now, should price break above this, then it's going to invalidate this possibility, right? So either you are waiting down here or you are waiting up there for a break, retest, or a rejection here, and then that move towards the upside. You see how it is? So yeah, so this one, but the direction we're seeing here is still bullish. You know, if we just do this is how it's trading. You see that? We need one last high. GBP USD, is it still in a correction? It retraced down aggressively. Let's go to it. There we go. Right? So this is how it's looking. The structure has not changed. Right? We are trading within the structure. We still have this higher high. This higher high there. Right? So we formed a higher low, giving us a double bottom. Now we're pushing up. So you see how it's still creating higher highs and higher lows. Look at that. We have a higher low. Price went up. We also have another higher low. So we're anticipating price to continue pushing up. As long as it doesn't break this structure, we're anticipating price to go back to that high there. You see how it is? So yeah, so what's the GBP USD? Oh, you know, we're looking for one more push up. And that's it. This will then complete this higher high, this higher low cycle, this move here. All right. So yeah, so this one is not done. This move is not finished as yet. It's not done as yet. GBP AUD, we just spoke about GBP AUD. All right. Maybe if you can rewind, Young Sunny, maybe you can just rewind. We spoke about GBP AUD. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how things are looking. All right. Same direction, just updating along the way. But this is how things are looking. From gold to your crypto, we haven't even touched on the other coins, but the structure remains the same, right? So we went from the commodities to the currencies to the crypto, looking at Bitcoin. Maybe on Thursday we'll have a look at other coins like your altcoins, your Cardano, Solana, Dogecoin, Algorand, Shiba, XRP. We'll have a look at those. But in terms of the direction, we are still good to go. Right? Hope you guys enjoyed. It's now time. This is where we're gonna end it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll catch you guys back again on Thursday. Right? Keep an eye, and we'll chat again soon. Right? Have a good one, guys. Cheers.